Hello. Then how? Hello. 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 Dear participants, very good evening everyone. Welcome. Pantech is a platform where a person can experience, innovate and implement different research and development works over this platform. Once again, I just wanted to welcome all the participants. Praveen, hi Praveen, Dinesh, Neelesh, Haripriya, Sujit Kumar, Rohit, Charvi, Kavita, Teja, Mayur, Sabha, Kartika, Rashid, Gokilan, Rohan, Suresh. Hi everyone, very good evening. Welcome back to our Pantech eLearning channel. Uma Maheshwari, very good evening. Yeah. I hope so my voice is audible. Before starting up the session, let me first know whether am I audible to all of you? Rama Shankar Singh sir, hi. Hi. I think you are the participant who has been attending almost since 1 year, 2 years I guess. So nice. So I think it's audible, right? Okay, fine. So without any delay, we'll start the session. Okay then. So today we are on the second day session of our Masterclass, that is on full stack web development using React.js. So let us first quickly review what we have learned in the yesterday's session, that is on the first day of our session. So we started learning something about web development, correct? With industrial applications. What is this web development and what are the various industrial applications that are present, okay? So we understood what you mean by web, right? It is nothing but some creation of some web page or web browser, something like that. So we even have created our web pages, first starting web pages, correct? What are the basic pages we have created? We have created a page in the notepad, from the notepad, giving some tags, and we also have created a web page of giving some title and also with some heading tag and something like paragraph with some customizations. This and all in the yesterday session we might have done. How many of you now know that you are in a stage to create a small page, web page? Yes, dear participants, you can make the session interactive. This is not your regular classroom boring session, okay? So you can make the session interactive by interacting with me from the comments or chat box. Attendance. Okay, regarding attendance, you will be receiving the attendance link by the end of the session, okay? Is it clear, Sagar Chaitanya? So many of the students are replying me in the comment section that you are in a stage to start or develop a basic web page with some small customization like color indications, correct? Very good. So we also have learned something about HTML, CSS, correct, in the yesterday session, and we also have covered what are all the various industrial applications of web development. So where can we implement web development applications, in which type of industries? Almost in every industry like healthcare industry, if you can consider, education industry, finance industry, banking sector, anywhere in any industry, you are going to work with some web pages. You are going to have some web pages. Okay, there are a lot of applications for this web development. Now, our main motto is how can we develop web pages using React.js. So, in this today's session, we will learn something about this React.js. Okay. So, are you all really excited to learn something new about this React.js? Please adjust with the screen actually. We tried it off zoom out, okay? Very exciting, huh? So nice. So let us start learning something about this React.js, and by the end of today's session, you might be having some good idea about React.js and why we are using this React.js to develop these web pages. Okay? So let us understand this. Yeah. So the topics to be covered in today's session is the overview, like what is this React.js and why we are using JavaScript. What is the use of this JavaScript and what do you mean by React JavaScript? What do you mean by virtual DOM? And what are the missions and versions of this React.js followed by React.js applications? Okay. So this and all we will be discussing in the today's session. First, let us start learning something about JavaScript. In yesterday's session, we discussed something about HTML, CSS and JS basics, right? Like HTML describes the structure of the application, how your application structure has to be represented in the web page. Next, CSS represents how customization can be done to the web page. Here comes something about JS, that is JavaScript. It is a dynamic programming language. So I just wanted to tell you one small thing before starting this JS. Most of the people are like a little bit scared about learning this JavaScript, right? So I would like to suggest one thing, start from the basic, okay? First know what is the scripting language basically representing, why we have to use this scripting language, okay? Then start learning how to program scripting, okay? Then develop small applications, you can easily learn the program, okay? How to program using this JS, okay? Fine. So we know that JavaScript is a dynamic programming language which is little bit difficult only. Okay, I understand that. For a basic beginner, it is little bit difficult to learn. But if you once learn this scripting, you will thoroughly enjoy developing applications through JS. Okay. So it is helpful to manipulate both CSS style as well as HTML attributes of the page. So this JavaScripting helps us to manipulate CSS styles. It means we can even work with CSS styling, change and program, as well as we can even work with HTML attributes, manipulate them, okay? It can also change the content and the way things look in a web page when a user interacts with it. So we know that web development means it is not only the user part. It will be having both the sides like front end and back end, right? Front end means we know that we interact, we the customers, users. As for every user individual, we interact with the, what we interact with? We interact with the web page, we interact with the company or we interact with the product like that, okay? But at the back end we have one more thing like server side. Okay, so there also the work takes place. Whatever the inputs you are giving, whatever the interaction you are making, for that you are getting some response, correct? So that response also can be getting from the backend side. Okay, so it can also change the content and the ways that looks in a web page. For suppose how the content is being represented in the web page. With the help of this JavaScript, we can even change the structure, how the web page is being illustrating or how it is being displayed. Okay, so whenever a user is interacting with the web page, we can even change the content, how it looks, okay, and how it works. We can even change it with the help of this JavaScript. I hope so you are understanding. Correct? Shall we move on to the next slide? Yeah. Here comes the pros of JavaScript. So what is the advantage of using this JavaScript? First thing is speed. So it reduces the time consumption compared to other programming languages. So it can work too fast and it can respond very spontaneously. That is a very most important advantage we have to consider. Why? Because in today's era, even the small kids also use different websites and use any channels also, something like that, correct? If the video is buffering, for suppose if any cartoon channel, whatever they are watching, if it is buffering, do you think kids listen us? No, correct? They will throw off the phones, correct? In the same way, even the people who are studying or who are something like doing some works through internet, or they are just doing some shopping like that, if the page is loading for long time, do we have an interest to proceed for payment like that? No, we can't purchase the products as per our wish because internet speed has to be too high, correct? No? So the response of the speed should be too high and it reduces the time consumption for compilation compared to other programming languages. What do you mean by compilation? Yes, dear participants, you can make the session interactive. I don't want to take a session of regular boring classroom sessions. You can make the session interactive. Yes, dear participants, I asked what do you mean by compilation? Yeah, Sahil. Compiler is to check the program before running. Very good, Sahil. High level language in machine learning. Very good. Compiler checks all the code at a time. Very good, Jaideep. So actually, we can whatever the program we are writing, we can program or we can debug the program in two ways. Okay. One is by using compiler and the other one is by using interpreter. What do you mean by compiler? What do you mean by interpreter? Let us understand the basic difference. Compiler means when you write a program, the complete code all at once we can debug, and if all the code is correct, you can directly execute the code. Okay? But whereas interpreter, it executes the code line by line, one after the other line, one after the other line, like that. So the basic difference between a compiler and an interpreter is compiler runs and debugs the complete code at once and executes the code, whereas interpreter executes the code line by line, one after the other line, like that. Okay. So the first advantage of using JavaScript is speed, where it reduces the time for compilation compared to other programming languages like Python. Why? Because Python uses interpreter, so it takes lot of time to execute a code. Okay, like one after the other line it has to execute, right? So only it will take lot of time. Okay, whereas interoperability, So it works with other programming languages also. Like it can interact with other programming languages also. Let it be like Python, C++, or C language, PHP, something like that. Okay. So JS has a very good feature to interact with other programming languages also. Like easily we can tell like Python. And security. It can provide you the high security. So JS provides you the high security for your application. But if you once start learning about it, you will feel free, comfortable to work with this scripting language. Okay? And this is available with low cost as well. Okay? So operational cost lower comparatively. So it comparatively with other programming languages, this scripting for using this JS, it is little bit lesser only. Okay. I hope so everything is clear till now. Let us move on to the next slide. Here comes something about JavaScript frameworks. So let us understand what is this JavaScript frameworks. Okay. So it's a collection of JavaScript code libraries that provides a web developer with pre-written code for routine programming tasks. Something like, I will tell you a basic example. If you consider a task of addition of two values, so the code will be same, right? A plus B is equal to C. But the values might be different. So for performing this addition n number of times, you can give some default variables, correct? So you can use them n number of times in the program. So this is how it helps us. Okay. So JavaScript framework is nothing but it is a collection of various JS code files that will provide a web developer with pre-written codes. So already written codes are available, ready-made codes, we call it as ready-madely available, correct? While we are using that codes for routine programming tasks, to repeat the task a number of times like that, okay? So it helps to pre-return the blocks of various codes. You can reuse the templates for different applications. Let it be chat application, let it be educational industry, some application like placement prediction, something like student performance prediction, or something like in healthcare, understanding and predicting the healthcare industry. Right. So in such cases, you reuse the templates. Okay, you can reuse the templates for various different applications. Okay. Yeah. Coming on to the next slide, here comes JavaScript frameworks, and here I have mentioned few examples as well. So the frameworks includes Embark, AngularJS, React applications, Vue.js. So what is this Embark.js? Yeah, why we are using this Embark.js? So it is basically a product of battle-tested JavaScript framework for building modern web applications, like latest trending web application purpose we use this. So it can include something like modified or something like the latest version. Okay, so this is why we use this Embark. Okay, Embark JavaScript. The next comes is AngularJS. Why we have to use this AngularJS? What is this AngularJS first of all? So it's an open source JavaScript package framework which is used for building web applications, which is mostly focused on CRUD operations. So it helps us to improve the HTML vocabulary with various tags, directives, useful information like that. Okay. Yeah, here comes next something like React.js application, which is our main interested or main topic, where we are going to start learning about something in detail about this React.js. It is an open source JavaScript library package crafted with precision. So it's being kept forward by the Facebook, which actually makes the application to be in simplified manner and to interact with the client or with the user in the basically. So it's used for to create something like user interfaces like that. And it also helps us to interact with the user with high speed performance. So this is why we prefer to implement React.js applications like that. So here next comes Vue.js, where it is also a lightweight JavaScript framework, so which is actually used for reactive web users interface. It extends the standard of HTML, CSS to create a suite of powerful tools, something like that in the front-end interactive page, interactive side. Okay. So these are all the various frameworks for JavaScripting. Yeah, coming to the next slide, here I would like to tell you something what we are going to learn in the next 15 minutes. First, we are going to start learning with the definition of React.js. What is this React.js? It's not like that, actually there is a problem with the screen resizing, okay? So please don't mind that, Manju. I hope so you can understand. There is a problem with screen resizing. If I keep like this, is it visible to everyone clearly? Let me check 1 minute. Wait, let me recheck it. Yes, dear students, dear participants, is it fine now? Is it visible now? So dear Puni, first you should understand what is there in the PPT, okay? So only I am explaining you point by point whatever I have given you in the PPT. Please be patient to learn it in detail. It's clear somewhat now, right? Like at least you can see the content clearly, correct no? So let us keep like this for today, okay? So fine. So what we are going to learn in the next 15 minutes of our session. First let us start learning what is this React.js definition, and we also will learn what is the importance of learning this React.js, what are the various applications, what are the various features making it so special to prefer this React.js, and what are the prerequisites. Okay, to use this React.js, what are the prerequisites one should have or one should aware of. So let us learn in detail now. So React.js is a JavaScript library which is used for fast and interactive user interfaces for the web as well as for mobile applications also. So this React.js package or framework which can be used to interact with the user, various number of users, user and application, web application. Not only web, we can even use for mobile applications also. So to interact with the users, we are using this React.js. It's a JavaScript package used for building user interfaces basically, right? It is an open source reusable component based front-end package. So once we have given some components, right, like functional components like that, So we can reuse them some n number of times like that. So it is based on front-end package only, which is used for front-end applications to interact with the users. It is basically used for building something like user interface components like that, and it also creates a virtual DOM in the memory whenever React is going to start working, something like that. So it creates a virtual DOM. With the help of that virtual DOM, it's going to work. Let us see in detail about it. Yeah, here are few advantages of using React.js. First and foremost advantage is easy to use. So it's very easy to interact with the web applications. It's a dynamic framework to use and to work with web applications. Enhanced performance. Its performance is very good to interact with the clients or to interact with the users. Reusable components. You can reuse the components n number of times as per the requirement. Unidirectional data flows. It's like whether it should access or whether it should respond. Okay, so only one directional data flow is present, so only we can easily process the data within less time. So this is an advantage. Okay, easy to learn as well. So small learning curve is available, like it is very easy to learn this framework, and to develop also applications also within very less time. A person can develop applications using this React.js. It can also be used in mobile applications as well, and the debugging. So dedicated tool for easy debugging. So React helps us to debug the code within very less time. Yeah, here comes the definition of React.js. React is a front-end framework. Okay, so let us understand what is this front-end development, what are the front-end languages, and what is the speciality of React.js. So before knowing the speciality of React.js, let us first know the history as well. So currently React.js v18.0 that is been available since April 2022 like that. So mostly this is used. Okay, this is the latest version. Okay, but it was initially released in 2013, something around June, July like that. It was first used in 2011 in Facebook's company like that, newsfeed feature. And it was being first put forwarded by Jordan Wacky, and that also I have kept in the slide, we'll see that. Yeah. Here you can see Jordan Wacky, right? In 2010, the first signs of React was being observed, whereas in 2011, an early prototype of React was being built up. In 2012, something new has been started in Facebook, whereas in 2013, the first year of big launch of this React.js has been started. In 2014, it started expanding its usage applications like that. Now in the 2015, it became stable framework to be used or implemented. Next in 2016, it gets mainstream, like mainly implemented stream like that. Yeah. So let us move on to the next slide. Here comes the importance of using this React.js. So this and all we have already discussed. Features of React.js. So here are few features of React.js. Yeah. So the first feature is JSX, JavaScript extensions. Next feature is one-way data binding. Next is DOM. Next extensions, performance, debugging. So we know that performance is high, and we know that debugging takes very less time to debug the code like that. So let us also learn something about this JSX. Okay, what is this JSX? It's actually abbreviated as JavaScript extensions. Okay, so why we are using this JavaScript extensions? It is basically used, or it is helping us to write HTML codes in React. Okay, so it makes something like to write and to add some HTML tags in React in the easiest way. So these extensions are helping us to write the code and add the tags, HTML tags in React in the easy way. It also converts this JavaScript also extensions, which is also converts the HTML tags into React elements. So this is why we prefer to use this JavaScript extensions in our React. Okay. Next one is one-way data binding. What is this one-way data binding? It's something like we will declare some variables when we write an application and properties and states like that, correct? So this one-way data binding, it gives us something like the flexibility to synchronize both the data as well as some user interface like that. We also will have lot of data binding techniques also, and there are a lot of differences between them like that. Okay, so based on our application requirement, we prefer to use the data binding technique like that. Next comes DOM, document object model. Okay, so let us learn about this in detail. Yeah, first learn something about this JavaScript extensions. It is a syntax extension to JavaScript. So by using of these JavaScript extensions, you can write HTML structures in the same file that contains JavaScript code. Wherever the code or wherever the application is being developed, in the same code, in the same file, you can even write the HTML structures as well. This is an advantage of using this JSX. It helps in making the code easier to understand and debug as it avoids the usage of DOM structures. So here you can see a simple tag, like we don't have a complex tags like that. So simple way, constant, simple, header 1, hello world. So this is what the basic syntax of creating a hello world. Okay. Coming to the next slide, here comes something about this document object model. So what is this document object model? Yeah, what is this document object model? First, suppose you are developing an application, okay? When you are developing an application, in the content, somewhere something like title or header or paragraph, something has to be changed. You have finished your development of your application, but you just wanted to modify that particular header, particular title like that. Then, you don't want to redevelop the complete code. Just remove the particular attribute or particular element and you just have to replace with the required content. So DOM is nothing but abbreviated as document object model, which you can see on the screen as well. So why we are using it means for structural representation of HTML elements which are present in something like web pages like that, web applications. So this DOM helps us to understand or to represent the entire user interface of the application. So it will be in the tree-like structure. You can see in the screen, right? It will be in the tree-like structure where it will just contain from the base, that is the node of each UI element present in the web document. You can see here whenever the document is there, root elements are there. Elements will be of header root, body of the statement, that also will be there. For header, again title, header reference. For body of the statements also, it will be having further. Next here you can see the tags also being added, right? And the text is being added to each and every element. If I wanted to change one element data, I don't want to restart my data. Okay, just I can change that particular attributes information directly. I hope so you are understanding. Moving on to the next slide. Yeah, here comes the content about DOM. So it treats an XML or HTML document as a tree structure in which each node is an object representing a part of the document, whatever the application you are developing. React keeps a lightweight representation of real DOM in the memory, and that is known as virtual DOM. It helps us in manipulating real DOM which is very slower than manipulating the virtual DOM, because nothing gets drawn on screen. It's just a virtual DOM only. So when the state of an object changes, virtual DOM changes. So then only the objects in the real DOM, instead of updating all the objects, it will just update that particular element wherever the changes have to be made. Virtual DOM and real DOM are two basic objects, like two types of objects. The virtual DOM is compared to its previous state, and then React gets to know which objects have changed. Whenever some modifications have been done, it will recheck from the previous state and to the present state. Then React helps us to understand what are all the different objects that have been changed. Okay, so this is how a basic DOM works. We will have two types of DOM, like real DOM, virtual DOM. In real DOM, if you wanted to change the data, you should modify the complete document, correct? But whereas in virtual DOM, you can just update the required content at the required object. So here you can see a document consists of an anchor, form, link, and the form consists of text data, checkbox, radio, select buttons, reset buttons, like that, and options are also available. Okay. Yeah. Here comes various methods of DOM. So what are all the various methods we can implement for DOM? First one is write of string. So it describes how we are writing a string of data, right? So it writes the given string on the document. Write of string method is helping us to write the given string in the document. Next is write ln of string, means it represents the length of that particular string. It will write the length of that particular string. So it writes the given string on the document with the new line character at the end. So we are also adding a new line character at the end with the help of this ln. Okay. Next, get element by id. If you wanted to select an element and get that particular element, you can get it by giving the id value. Next is get elements by name. We can even use names to get the elements, particular elements. Get elements by tag name. So it will all return all the elements having that given tag name. Get elements by class name. It returns all the elements having the given class name. So these are all the various methods which we use in DOM. I hope so everyone is understanding, right? Fine. Let us move on to the next slide. Yeah. The document object represents the whole HTML document where it is loaded into the browser. Whenever HTML document is loaded into the browser, it becomes a document object. It is a root element that represents HTML document. It has various properties and methods also, which we also already discussed, right? So as mentioned earlier, it is the object of window. So the window document is the same like document. Coming to the next slide. Yeah. DOM treats an XML or HTML document as a tree structure in which each node is an object representing a part of the document. Virtual DOM is nothing but the exact copy of real DOM. React keeps lightweight representation. This and all we finished, right? Yeah. So it manipulates real DOM, which is very slower than manipulating the virtual DOM because nothing gets drawn onto the screen. Yeah. The states of these objects have changed and virtual DOM is compared to its previous state. This also we have finished. Yeah. Performance of one-way data binding. Wait 1 minute. Yeah. Performance of one-way data binding. So React one-way data binding keeps everything modular and fast. Actually, explanation I have done already. But the slide I am showing you now, okay? So it's a unidirectional data flow, which means that when designing a React app, you often nest child components, like it should be one directional. Whether you are giving something like some input or whether you are getting some response from that, okay? Extensions. So React goes beyond simple user interface and has many extensions for completing a application. So it provides a server-side rendering as well. It supports mobile application development and extended with Flux and Redux among others. React Native. So it helps us to build mobile applications using JavaScript. React Native app is a real mobile app and not just a web app running on mobile. Thousands of applications are using React Native, from established Fortune 500 companies to the new startup companies right now in the market. So what is Flux? So Flux is the application architecture that Facebook uses for building web application. It implements unidirectional flow of implementation, which makes it easier to deduce what's going on. Money. I have a query from you, Money, like various DOMs. We basically have two types of DOMs, that is real and virtual. In real DOM, if you wanted to change any element, the complete document has to be modified. But instead, in virtual DOM, you can easily modify the particular element. Whatever element you wanted to modify, you can just directly change it. Okay. Screen is visible only. Why not you people? Please recheck, ma. Like the screen is clearly visible here. You just check in your phones as well. Okay? Fine. Coming to the next slide. Here comes the how this Flux is going to be working. Like first, whatever the application we are viewing or whatever the content we are viewing, that action has to be performed, and what after that action it has to dispatch to the store. Okay, this is how basically a Flux works. What is debugging? Gopalnath, what you want me to explain again? Can you just tell me? I'll tell you again. Okay, fine. So React applications are extremely easy to test due to large developer community. So FB even provides a small browser extension which makes React debugging faster and easier. It's clear, Jahira? Okay, fine. Yeah. So here are prerequisites of React. What we should have before start working with React applications. One should be familiar with the basic programming concepts like how to work with functions, objects, array of elements, like that, classes. That and all you should have some idea, object-oriented programming languages like that, and to a lesser extent classes idea also. You should have basic knowledge of JavaScript as well, and one should have some familiarity with HTML. We have these prerequisites now with us. Now the only thing is install the software, start developing applications in VS Code using React.js. So this and all will be done in the next class. So here comes the industrial trends of React. React developers are most wanted and earn more money. This is why everyone is preferring React, right? The people working in other IT firms and the people working in React, there is a lot of difference to create your career as well. Like the package is going to be very high. Okay, so that's why there are very less number of people working with React, and there is a good opportunity with high packages. So we can earn money when compared to other web development developers. And according to the base scale, the average salary for a React developer is $91,000 per year. React is gaining popularity and being adopted by many companies. Gaining popularity and is being adopted by many companies. So here comes the last slide, that is about what we have learned in today's session. Firstly, we started learning about something like JavaScript, then started learning something about what is React.js, what is the definition of React.js, and also we learned something about what are the features making it so special to prefer this React.js, what are the pros, and what do you mean by DOM, what is the difference between real DOM and virtual DOM. So these and all things we have covered in the today's session. If you still have any queries, you can just ask me, I'll just tell you. Yes, dear participants, you can ask your queries, whatever you are having. Dear participants, whatever the queries you are having, we still have time today. You can just ask me. DOM methods screen is not clear now. You want me to show that screen DOM methods? It's very easy actually, very little methods only available. See, you can see now. Like it is in the form of an image, so only it might not be in clear format. First one, write of string. Second one, write ln of string, that is nothing but new line. Next, get element by id, get element by name, get element by tag name, get elements by class name. No doubts, right? Venu? Very good. React.js is a framework. We can use scripting of JS and we can develop web applications like HTML, CSS with the help of that HTML, CSS, we are going to develop the applications using this React. In VS Code, we will be developing. Okay. Logesh, is it clear now? React is just a front-end framework. You just remember like package. We use software like VS Code to develop applications in in the coming classes. Participants can install VS Code in your systems. Regarding examples, we'll discuss in the next coming classes, Santosh. JS, if you have some base idea, you can work with React.js, okay? Regarding theoretical concept and basic scripting knowledge, if you have, you can develop applications, no problem. Is it clear, Surya? Vinay. So it's not like teaching only React.js. I wanted to make the participants to learn from the scratch to applications oriented. So I'll give you a knowledge which can be used to develop applications like that. Okay. Yeah, Andrew, I have given you the theoretical concept. Why? Because we are on the second day. Please don't forget that. We are just on the second day. In order to start any applications, in order to start any hands-on training, one should have some basic knowledge, right? So only I have given you the theoretical concept today. PPTs can be shared to your required groups, WhatsApp group. Regarding coding, after installation, we will start. Gokulan, is it clear? Okay, I hope so. Everyone understood the basic theory about this React.js, why we are using this, what are the various features making it so special, what do you mean by DOM, and what are the differences between real DOM and virtual DOM. Correct? I hope so everyone enjoyed this session. If yes, you can just click on like symbol as well. And coming to the last slide of our session, before thanking you, before winding up the session, I just wanted to remind you one thing, dear participants. Comment, share to your friends who are interested, and also if you are the first time visitor to our Pantech eLearning channel, please do click on subscribe to our Pantech eLearning channel. Thank you all. Have a very nice time. See you all again tomorrow by 6 p.m. in the evening. Thank you all. Have a very nice time.